Welcome back to the free-to-play feature. My name is Kevin, and today we'll be taking a look at the Mario Tour. The discussion I'd like to start today's video with is a recurring topic on this channel, and that is tier matchmaking. Now, one of my goals in bringing this information to the public, putting it on YouTube, has been to acquire more sets of data from other players. And I'm not actually looking for a confirmation bias, because the things that I've discussed on this channel absolutely apply to my account. But since this is kind of like a sandbox game and there's many different possibilities of ways that you could play through it, I'm interested in hearing about how tier matchmaking is different for other players, even within different player groups such as Gold Pass only, or Gold Pass and purchases a few packs, or just outright pay to win, but also within the free-to-play players themselves. And two such cases have been presented to me, and it's really broadened my horizons in terms of understanding how matchmaking works, and it will be my goal today to explain in detail what I've learned from these different sets of data. Now, the first one that was presented to me was from Thomas from the Kart Life free-to-play group, and what he had was tier 42. He made it all the way to tier 42, and his scores were generally in the low to mid 40,000s on a week-to-week basis. Now, he had reached a point where it was no longer viable for him to tier up. The same 40,000, 45,000 that he was scoring was not good enough. They were reaching for opponents that were above 50,000. And even after he had lost a week and had tiered down to 41, by only scoring 35,000, it still provided a group that had opponents that were around 55,000. So that was a model of data that wasn't consistent with my findings in my game, where your scores matter from a week-to-week basis in predicting what your next opponent will be like. So before I share my thoughts and conclusion on that, I'll also present another case study, and that is with Bolt, also from the Kart Life Discord, from the free-to-play group. And Bolt's situation is actually the exact opposite, where he had made it to tier 51, congrats, but it got difficult, and he had tiered down 5 weeks in a row. So he was all the way down to tier 46. And the loadouts just worked for him one tour, and he scored nearly 80,000. It was very impressive. And I said, "Ooh, you definitely overbaked it. It's gonna be difficult the next week." And he's like, "Okay, I don't care, whatever. I just play my way." So lo and behold, the following week was very easy for him once again. And so was the following week and the following week. However, it's gotten increasingly less easy as he's come back to what I'll call the equilibrium point. So let's review what we know here. Thomas overachieved. He had reached a tier that few people can do, scoring the levels that he was. And the system had set it up basically so that he would fall back down to his natural tier, we'll call it, which is closer to the average of what a player would be at, scoring in the low 40,000s. And on the flip side, we have Bolt, who had been met with great difficulty and had tiered down several times, and then he would put up big massive scores, and they wouldn't show him resistance until he got close enough to his natural tier before they would start putting him back at that equilibrium point where what he scores will affect his opponents on a week-to-week basis. Up until this point on the channel, I've only plotted the trajectory, how my account has behaved. However, I've seen that the matchmaking has been altered for my account gradually in recent weeks after my manipulation of the mechanics has led to tiering up 5 consecutive weeks in a row. So now I'm being met with more difficult opponents than my formula can possibly project, at this time. Now, my one pathway is just one trajectory. And now that we have Thomas's and Bolt's data to add to it, I've come up with a map. And what this map does is it perhaps could explain every possibility of matchmaking that can exist within the game, no matter what kind of player that you are. Now, I will provide a chart in the space over here. In this chart, we have your score on one axis and your tier on the other axis. Now, the line that goes through the center diagonally is what I'll call the equilibrium line. And that's the line that exists where when you play and your score and loadouts have a direct influence on your tier group that you'll receive in the following week. Looking at my own player history, I've historically followed along the equilibrium line as I've proceeded through my account. However, since I started manipulating my surroundings within the game, doing what I've been doing on the program for the last few months, I've entered a situation that is edging closer to what Thomas experienced, which is where you're overachieving. And I may reach a point very soon, I may be there right now, where no matter what I do within my own game, they're going to give me opponents that are too difficult for me to match. And then I'll tier down while I continue to acquire resources to the point where then I can then proceed forward in the natural pathway along the equilibrium line. Now, if you venture away from the equilibrium point, take Thomas's case, for example, where you overachieve and you're in a higher tier than your scoring output can seek to maintain, then you'll be in the red area below the equilibrium point. And this is an area that I'll just call Hades, or the Hadean area. And basically what that means is that your groups will be hell no matter what you do within your scoring history. It won't matter what your loadouts are. Those are groups that will seek to bring your tier back to the equilibrium point where your score fulfills like closer to the average of what you would expect a player in that situation to be able to produce. And then on the flip side, you have Bolt's case, and we'll call that the ocean. We'll call it the ocean because it's blue, and also because this is where you see Gold Pass, particularly those players who purchase bundles or outright pay to win, exist. This is where the whales swim. And what's characteristic of the ocean area is that your resources and your scoring potential exceed what they're willing to pair you with in your ranked group for that given week. So, in the case of Bolt, who's free to play, but he had found himself in a situation where he tiered down 5 weeks in a row, he had 3 or 4 easy weeks, and now each time he's moved closer to equilibrium, and it's gotten to the point now where it's becoming difficult to tier up anymore. And that will be the case until he starts investing and putting those tickets to work, and then he'll be able to proceed beyond that point and then either enter a situation where he's in the red or where he's at equilibrium, which is going to be an alteration between winning and losing. Now, if you're pay to win in this game, those resources that you're collecting can be used to maintain your account above a point in which the matchmaking algorithm will actively threaten your status for your tier on a week-to-week basis. Now, as with everything, this is a gradient. Hopefully you can see through the image in the chart that there are shades and degrees to which these forces apply, and that's the case, as you see, with the top whales in the game, where they very, very rarely are met with resistance. Sometimes they have an entire group that is just botted accounts. And that's beyond the scope of anything I'm able to explain in this video. However, it is something that you will see if you are paying attention to these things in the community. However, what you will see among people who are pay to win is that they'll have several weeks where they can score 110,000, and if they were at the equilibrium point as a free-to-play player would be, they're not going to be matched up with an opponent that can score 120,000 the next week. That would be a huge antagonistic force amongst the players who are helping to support and keep this game afloat. And what they will see is that on seldom occasions they will move, basically the whale will surface, it will breach, and you'll see the whale hit the equilibrium point, in which case it happens every month or two, where you'll have a group and there will be one opponent who can score 100,000 or higher, and it's a little bit of a race to the finish to see who can win that week. And it's a little bit of a scare, but then afterwards they seem to go back into the deep blue sea, and they're very happy with 20,000 point plus victories. What's the conclusion you can draw from all this? Well, if your data for your game does not match that I've charted across the past few months, which is representative of being around the equilibrium point, then it's important to figure out where you stand in your game. And this is a situation where you'll want to look at your friend list, you'll want to see online what tier you're in, and also what what some of your friends and other players are scoring for that tier, and with those loadouts to get a gauge for, are you overachieving or are you underachieving? If you're in a situation where you haven't won ranked mode in a while, then you're down in the red area. You're in Hades. It's not a very fun place to be. However, what's critical to know about this is that the game isn't trying to make you lose, because if you keep losing, you'll end up in a situation like Bolt was, where they want you to win every week. And it won't matter what you score until you reach the equilibrium point once again, and then you can have that alteration reestablished. So the most critical aspect, I'll repeat again, is to be able to identify within your own game where you are on this map, and to plan accordingly for how you wish to proceed with your ranked modes. This game has a very rich ecosystem, and both through my own observation and all the observations that you have shared with me, we've been able to paint a more comprehensive picture of what goes into the algorithm for our tier matchmaking. And that's a very critical part of the game for us, since that is where the lion's share of our rewards come from. And I encourage you all to continue to share with me all of your data and anecdotes as we proceed forward. It's gotten to a point where it's a little bit overwhelming to collect all of the data and be able to give meaningful analysis. However, what my hope is for the future is that the thoughts and ideas that I've expressed through my video series can be absorbed by all of you within the community, and you can become your own self-thinker when it comes to what you're experiencing in the game and how you would like to see your game progress moving forward. And with that, I can take more of a hands-off approach, and also be able to accept perhaps even new observations that take us into uncharted territory, or a new breakthrough of things that apply to the tier matchmaking that we're not currently able to model. Next on the agenda is that Mario Kart Tour and Nintendo have provided us with a roadmap of the near future within the game, and they've gone ahead and given us a preview of the next two tours. I'll provide the information on screen at some point. The next two tours are the Yoshi Tour and a still-to-be-named tour, in which they'll be celebrating the 1.5-year anniversary of the game. This is something that's really surprised everyone within the community. It's something that will really help to enhance the playability and the excitement around the game, and it will hopefully do very good things for their revenue and continue to provide us with an enjoyable experience. Perhaps the biggest takeaway is that there will be 2 sets of challenge cards celebrating the 1.5-year anniversary. Starting in week 2 of the Mario Tour, we'll have access to a board that will have 9 slots that grant us each 1 ruby for completing those tasks, along with 15 rubies for completing the whole board, for a total of 24 rubies. The first one, which won't be able to be completed until week 1 of the Yoshi Tour, will provide us with 24 rubies, and then we'll have a second brand new board. I'd imagine it would be the same composition as the first, which will provide an additional 24 rubies from week 2 of the Yoshi Tour through week 1 of the 1.5-year anniversary tour. What this means is that you'll have access to 48 additional rubies that you wouldn't have otherwise, which I would highly recommend that you save in order to use on the pipes that will be available in the still to be named tour for the 1.5-year anniversary. If we take a look at the recent history for big celebratory tours, we have the first anniversary tour in which every pipe had, the ones with the spotlights for the 100 pipes had 12 high ends. It was incredible value, as well as a 5 high-end 50 pipe that was gold themed. And the other tour was the New Year's 2021 tour, in which case, just like an anniversary tour, you had 100 pipes that had 12 high ends, extraordinarily high value. And I feel that it's a very reasonable expectation to see another 12 high-end 100 pipe, and it will likely include a brand new character for Wario, since the image that they showed seemed to indicate, both with the garlic and the mustache, that it will be a Wario themed tour. Now, in terms of what the special skill on that character will be, it's anyone's guess at this point. I know a lot of players are eager for a new coin box driver. There has not been a new coin box driver since Bowser Santa. However, it's still too early to say on that, but keep in mind that if there is a new Wario alt with coin box, you will want to have as many rubies, ideally 450 or greater, to be able to pull on that pipe and get the entire contents of that pipe. Because I will say, in the last tour, even though 12 high ends, so that's 1.2 high ends per 10 pull that you do, probability doesn't work like that. You'll see people who will pull on the pipe, they'll do 30 pulls and they'll get 1 high end or no high ends. They could all be at the bottom, they could all be in the middle, or they could be equally spread out. When I pulled on the pipe in the New Year's tour, I had a gold pipe, and then I had a green pipe, and I had a gold pipe, and I had a green pipe. And most of the gold pipes had 2 high ends. So it all worked out to be close to expected value in terms of how deep I went into that pipe. But it's important to keep in mind that the only way that you can get the contents of those pipes is to have the full ruby count in order to drain it. The other piece of exciting news, at least the one that caught my eye, is that in the Yoshi Tour, Coins of Plenty will be going every single day of the tour, which means that coins will not be an issue. Now, for all of the free-to-play players out there, you know how important this is. You're going to want to log in every day, get your coins. Generally, on a Coins of Plenty day, I'm able to get around 1,900 coins collectively. That's maximizing everything. That's friend greeting coins, that's multiplayer coins, that's your daily limit break, so that's the $2.99 plus whatever you get in the following race, as well as the Coins of Plenty, which is roughly, I try to get 1,080 on that. However, it depends on which cup you receive for your Coins of Plenty on that given day. You can score much more. 1,080 is a very conservative estimate that you can achieve on just about any cup that they provide you with. Next, let's take a look at how I did to end week 2 of the previous tour. So the ranking results are on display. and we see I got 10th place. It was actually a nail biter on this one. I had thought that what I had done the week before might be enough to find a soft area around the 4th through 6th place area, but what we saw was that most people's groups were scaled up in terms of difficulty, and 6th place became apparent that I couldn't catch it. It was 63,000, and I figured I could get about 61 to 62,000. So what I ended up doing was underbaking my score to have the best chance, especially once I found out that we were going back to Tokyo. And I ended up with, as you can see, less than 300 points more than 11th place. I was on it last second to make sure that it was going to hold up. So there you see my runs. I did DK Summit T on 100cc. That was a frenzy-less run. And the other ones were fairly legit runs. Rainbow Road RT was Coin Box Frenzy, Banana Frenzy, and I believe Vanilla Lake 1T was Coin, Banana, Coin Frenzy, triple frenzy run. So that was pretty good. As we could see here, first place had 85,000. They went above and beyond. Someone actually in the Kart Life Discord mentioned that they should be able to get 85, and I thought, well, that wouldn't make sense because there's no way I could ever catch that person, even if I started spending money. So, but they ended up doing it. So, as did many of your groups, have very challenging opponents. So we're going to hope for better this week. However, we are back in Tokyo, which means that the paywall is erected. Let's take a look and see what we're dealing with here. Tokyo Blur 4. And as you can see, I don't have a top shelf. I'm not exactly sure what my ceiling is going to be in terms of this track. I'm hoping I can get 10,000. Lakitu Party Time is a very good option. Lucky 7. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking at a coin box driver on the bottom shelf. So perhaps Party Time Pauline. But on city tracks, it's very difficult to race with bottom shelf because of the aggressiveness of the bots. We'll see. I do think that the maximum ceiling would be with that bottom shelf coin boxer. For carts, I have middle shelf. I have the P-Wing. That's as good as it gets because, as you can see, I have bottom shelf glider. These are the absolute killers in the game. I have the Swooper. It's level 5. I could take it to level 6 to get an additional 5% combo time, but that seems like very, very low return on that. Airship Fortress. We have top shelf for this one. 2 gold drivers. Probably go with Gold Shy Guy. I think the special is just a little bit better. We have the Head Honcho. Very nice cart. I keep saying that I'm willing to invest in it. I'm not sure if this is the week. I really need to be able to come in first place if I'm going to invest in a cart. So we'll see how that shakes up. Otherwise, I'll just leave it at level 1. And here we have the Great Sail. One of my favorite gliders in the game. My most used glider in the game. Level 3 capped. So this is going to be a fairly decent score. I'm not sure what I'm going to get. Hopefully I can reach 20,000, but if not, maybe like 18, 19,000. We'll see. I find that normally my estimates coming in are vastly different than what my actual ceiling is once I get a few runs established. Mario Circuit 1. We have Mario, level 4. I can take him to level 5, but once again, I'm only going to do that if it's required in order to get a much higher placement in ranked mode. Here we have a level 4 Egg 1, my favorite cart in the game perhaps, but once again, similar deal to Mario. I can take it to level 5, but I'm only going to do that if I'm going to move up in the rankings. And here we have the, what is this called again? Super Glider. I can take this to level 5 also and uncap it, perhaps even double uncap it, although as you can see the value here, it only has 2 tracks once it gets to level 6, so I don't know if that's the wisest use of normal glider cap tickets, but then again, what else are we using them on? I'll assess that as the week progresses, but yeah, I mean, this could potentially be a 5-5-5 loadout. If not, if I take the conservative route, probably just a 4-4-4 loadout. And that's what I'm looking at for week 1. Week 2, I expect to be the Birdo Cup. For the first track, we have Tokyo Blur 4 Reverse Trick version. And as you can see, it's just as bad as week 1. Middle shelf driver, Lakitu Party Time. Now the trick tracks, it's often less optimal to go with the bottom shelf coin boxer because of all the jumps. It's much harder to collect all the coins than it is on the normal track variant. So on this one, I feel very confident saying I'll go with Lakitu Party Time. bottom shelf cart, it is whatever the best available option is for me, which I believe would be this Parawing, level 4. It's double uncapped, and it is Jump Boost Plus, so that works well. The only level 3 card I have is the Platinum Taxi, and that's Mini Turbo Plus, so I definitely think that the Parawing would be, since it is the same amount of action points, it would be just a cut above the Platinum Taxi. And I actually have a middle shelf glider here. I mean, given that it is a trick track, I can probably do a little bit better on this, but that's not saying much. It's not good. I mean, this is why it's like I love to see the city tracks, but since they are so heavily paywalled, I fret them just as much as I look forward to them. So honestly, I could do without the city tracks, just because it's not good for my game long term. But you know, as long as they keep it to be, you know, once every like 3 months or so, then I don't mind the city tracks as much. And anyway, that's my perspective from the free-to-play side of things. Then we go to Rainbow Road, the regular 3DS version, and we see I have Lemmy, level 4. I can take it to level 5. One of the better normal drivers in terms of coverage. And top shelf cart, I have the Red Bee Dasher, level 3, and it's 1 out of 2 in the progress towards level 4. I haven't purchased it yet in the token shop because I'm waiting until after I get my group for week 2, just in case. That will help me in terms of the algorithm. I'll also definitely cap that off, since that will then be my best cart. And then, actually, perhaps then I would use the Red Bee Dasher on Tokyo Blur 4 Reverse Trick, something to consider. And then here we have the Crimson Crane, very nice glider. So here I'm not looking too shabby on that one. And let's back it out. We have RMX Mario Circuit 1 RT. I have Luigi level 2. It's 1 out of 2 progress towards level 3. Just like the Red Bee Dasher, I'm saving that in the token shop until I get my group for week 2. So we'll be going with Luigi, Red Bee Dasher again, so that will be level 4, very nice. And for the glider, I have this oil paper umbrella. I purchased it in the daily selects to bring it to 1 out of 3. And judging by the configuration of items, I do believe that there will be a super glider for the tier shop in week 2. It's very likely to be this oil paper umbrella. So perhaps I can purchase it again and then only have to use 1 ticket. That would be amazing. So that's my hope for the week 2 tier shop. So here we're looking at level 3 Luigi, level 4 Red Bee Dasher, and level 4 oil paper umbrella. However, based on what Tokyo provides me in terms of scoring, I'm not optimistic in either week, and very much looking forward to the next tour in terms of ranked modes. Because one thing to keep in mind is that with the increased rewards coming in the Yoshi Tour, one of those things will be that you'll be able to obtain a driver through winning your ranked group, which could be significant. So it may actually be optimal that I tier down in week 2, if not week 1 also. We don't know what that driver will be, if it will be a new driver or an old driver, if it will be a high-end. I would imagine it would be at least pretty good. So perhaps it will be just Black Yoshi, although that was in the paid challenge card for the previous tour. So I don't know if it will be on the level of Black Yoshi, but if not, I mean, even just a super driver, that's an extra 3,000 coins. That would go a long way. In terms of the tier shop this week, well, actually, let's start with the token shop. I love that they have the coin gliders in here. So I already picked those up. Mario, it takes him a step closer to level 5. The only thing I don't like about these special event token shops is that the coins are reduced. There's only 2,500 coins as opposed to 5,000, or I believe that they've even done 10,000 on one occasion. But at the end of the day, we can't complain when we get these high-end tickets, am I right? So here we go. Pink Gold Paper Glider is in the tier shop this week, and I'm thinking about passing on it because I reviewed its coverage. I referenced it to all my other gliders, and it will only help me on RMX Choco Island 1T. That's the only track it can help me on. And it is a very exclusive top shelf for that track, and it would certainly help me. However, it is in the all clear pipe, and I'm not sure because normally I purchase the high-end gliders religiously, but I am trying to pivot back to 15,000 coins if needed for a high-end driver ticket in week 2. Now, the other thing to consider is I saw once again Nintendo is on this thing with the challenge board task for purchasing an item in the tier shop. Here it is, as you can see, and this ruined my whole coin strategy in week 2 of the last tour. You can go back and see how devastated I was by that, because I had planned my coins within like an accuracy of 100 coins to be able to purchase all 4 of the high-end driver tickets, but it worked out that since I had to purchase something from the tier shop in order to get the last coin rush ticket, I wasn't able to purchase that last high-end ticket, and I ended up just spending the coins frivolously in the daily selects. If you're in the Kart Life Discord, you can let's see what I spent all those coins on. But anyway, here it is again. Now the benefit of having it though in the week 1 challenge board is that I don't have to buy anything in this tier shop. I can actually wait till week 2 to make a purchase, and if there's a high-end ticket, that's what I would prefer to use my coins on. Yeah, it's a tough one with the pink gold paper glider, because it is a good glider, but I'm afraid that it doesn't help me very much, and my coins are limited until we get to the Yoshi Tour, and then I'm going to be like unshackled and can really put the pedal to the metal in terms of building up my resources and improving my inventory. Last up, we have the free pipe pulls. So let's just get right into it. First one up, green pipe. What are we going to get out of this? Oh, all right, perfect. A super daily selects glider. That's very nice. I love that. That already. Now I don't care what the last one is. And it's green, but can we double dip on the supers? Hey, super blooper cart. Great way to end the video. Listen, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, if you like my comprehensive, holistic approach to the game, even if you're not free to play, click the subscribe button and click to receive notifications for when the next video comes around. Your support means the world to me. As always, join the comments section. We have amazing discussions. We're very welcoming, and I love to hear everything you have to say about the game, whether it's about your ranked mode, how your pipe pulls are going, just, how you feel about investing into the characters that you want. Remember, play the game for fun and try to win along the way. And that's my approach anyway. If you want to play to win, then that's more power to you. Anyway, take care, you guys. Be smart, stay safe, and I will see you on the next one.